A look at youth violence in the Central neighborhood. Our team was Julian Askew, Aisha Drakeow, Cynthia Johnson, Janet Neville, myself, W. Dean Rutland, and Leon Stevenson. Our coach is Bruce Holmes, and our community organization is Environmental Health Watch with Kim Foreman. Our contents is the history, demographics, overview, community assessment, our SWOT analysis, our logic model, recommendations, implications, and our conclusion. An overview, the problem is being addressed by our team is the continual presence of youth engagement in violence and the overall effects it has on the urban community. Preferably, we're talking about the central neighborhood. However, lead poisoning is one of the several powerful biological, environmental contributing factors that affect delinquency and youth violence. Lead poisoning is linked to aggressive behavior, criminal activities in youth. Through personal experiences and testimonies, our team will use this to fuel our commitment to reduce teen youth violence. Youth violence refers to harmful behaviors that can start early and continue into adulthood. The youth may be a victim, an offender, or a witness to the violence. Youth violence includes a number of behaviors. These violent acts are bullying, slapping, or hitting. Others like robbery, assault, and many leads to serious or even injuries or even death. The history of Central is German immigrants came into the area early and settled on to, they came in to do farming. However, they quickly found local jobs in foundries and the steel mills. In the 1920s, the resident began to change because it became overcrowded and many of the people started moving out. The change coincided with what was known as the Great Migration in the 1920s to 30s, and that was African Americans coming up from the South. And when they moved into the neighborhood, a lot of the immigrants started moving out. By that time, the Depression hit, and Central became one of the most populated neighborhoods, and it also turned into slum areas. The demographics, the population there in 2010 was 12,154. The median household income was 11,483. Right now, today, the median income was, I think it was like 13,000, so it's not much up from there. Persons living below the poverty level in that area, there was 7,050. Population aged 18 through 64 living in poverty is 59%, and 5 through 17, it's 73%. We did a community assessment with our SWOT analysis with their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The internal strengths, we had the Friendly End, Sisters of Charity Foundation, the Engaged Residents of Ward 5. We found out through some of our testimonies, because we have done some video taping, and some of the parents are really engaged. They have colleges and vocational schools, churches. They have East Tech, Cleveland School of Art, PLC, whatever that is. What is PLC?
Portland Off-Way.
Okay, so you all know, I don't. Councilwoman Phyllis Cleveland, the County Councilman Pernell Jones, Cuyahoga, CMHJ, Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority, Lonnie Burton Recreation Center, the Cleveland Foundation, the Robert Wood Foundation, Police Assisted Referral Program, and Police Athletic League. Internal weaknesses, lack of parental involvement. I know you saw in the other one that we had parental involvement, but they're the parents that are involved, so that there are a lot that are not involved, so they take up the slack. Low attachment to parents and poor supervision, low parental education and income, parental substance abuse or criminality, high concentration of older lead contaminated housing, and that is one of the reasons a lot of the children have cognitive problems today because of lead, actually eating lead when they were younger. Or there's a lot of reasons why lead is in houses and also in our communities. Attention deficit and learning disorders, low IQ, economically disadvantaged, exposure to repeated violence and conflict in the family. Violent tendencies are greater in youth with high level of lead concentration in blood. Witness to domestic violence and other crimes. Lack of respect for authority. A lot of the youth that we videoed said they don't have respect for authority, and they couldn't tell us why. They just they respect their parents, but as far as teachers, police officers, they don't have that respect. Insufficient sports activities. They do have a football team over there, and I think that's the most active one that they have. So external threats, the diminishing of federal funding, lack of innovative education options, urban redevelopment. Funders do not always deliver. One of the coaches said that they get grant money, but the grant money is never delivered, so they're still waiting on some from 2 years ago. Exposure to gun gang, negative role models, drug selling, and negative peer pressure. External opportunities, cultivate and network and capacity building as far as networking with other organizations. Strengthen and connect community unity to develop enhanced strategies for youth programs and employment. Environmental Health Watch, a RIDAW partnership. Both of them want to do youth farms over there, and research show that youth farms is a way to prevent youth violence. Burton Bell and Carr, Police Athletic League, and Central Promise, and of course the Friendly End.
Here we have the logic model, and as you can see, we have the inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes/impacts. Under the inputs is what resources go into a program. City Council, Friendly End, use of the building, the equipment, staff, parents, NLI, the volunteers, attendees, CDC, and other nonprofits in the central neighborhood for the activities, and those are the activities the program will in fact undertake. And that's focus group, a needs assessment, survey questions, speakers, success stories that relates to the video, the interviews, youth volunteer opportunities, educational activities for young children. As far as outputs, what is produced through those activities, locating the 5 top concerns of youth and parents, creating a safe location and activity for youth expression, register 10 to 15 youths to volunteer for after-school programs and summer weekend programming. Outcome impacts, the changes and benefits that result from the program is developing young community leaders, self-awareness, community unity, reinvestment, and reduce youth violence, and the desire is to commit violence and crime. That is not the desire. Recommendations. Research studies show that urban farms do in fact help prevent youth violence. It gives them something to do, show them if they plant something, it will grow, and you just have to just cultivate it. Also, another recommendation is to demolish these old contaminated houses because it does have a lot of lead. This lead is in fact airborne, which has caused a lot of the problems with the youth and creating a lot of aggression within these youth. Low IQ, gang resistance education and training, which is the GRAPE program, Boys and Girls Club, violence prevention initiatives, youth curfews, midnight basketball, parent involvement, and additional sport activities for girls and boys. Even though they have the PAL, which is the Police Athletic League, they only do boxing and football. But now no baseball. They do have some cheerleading, so they do need some more activities for the youth to occupy their time. And you know, boys have much more energy, so they really need a lot more things to do, as well as the girls. I keep going backwards, okay. Implications: urban gardens can offer physical and mental health benefits by providing opportunities to the youth. Eating healthier, fresher food, vegetables, creates a better cognitive outcome for the youth development. Urban gardens can also engage youth in physical activity, build skills, and also create green space. A lot of these areas that are eyesores, if they replace it with, you know, a community garden, that will also beautify the community as well. It's not so depressing, not only for the youth, but for the people that live in the neighborhood. Decrease violence and improve social well-being through strengthening social connections. Positive relationships with the students, their social peers, teachers, and their families can be critical in promoting well-being and preventing youth violence. Conclusion: with the collaboration of all the stakeholders that I mentioned previously, businesses, the councilwoman, CMHA, Burton, Bale and Carr, Riddall, CMHA, community residents, youth, we will have a community awareness workshop and youth violence prevention march. In addition to, as I mentioned, we'll have a short documentary, so please join us for fun, food, and a panel discussion on the causes and solutions to youth violence. Thank you.